Well, howdy. I am CharLee Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk, talking about two things you're never supposed to talk about, politics and religion. One decides what life is going to be like here on Earth. The other one decides what it's going to be like when we leave it. Makes it kind of important. The silent majority has finally found its voice. Another thing I do on Do Not Talk, I talk to the people that everybody tells me I'm not supposed to talk to, including my own Republican Party. When I first had Lewis Herms on, I was, and that's my guest today, Lewis Herms. Ooh, what? Hang on. It'll be worth it. Trust me. This is the guy who started the website, said screw big gov. That's his website. And he's running for governor of California. Screw big gov. I completely agree. I've been saying that for an awful long time now. So that's who's going to be on. But something happened just recently. I had a little breakout like I was a teenager again. Right there on my nose. Look at that. So if you're going, what's on your nose, CharLee? What is that? That was me trying to take care of some kind of pimple that was popping out. Hard to be so graphic. You're okay with me, speaking honest, little physical things like this, aren't you? No. Okay. Never mind then. Suffice it to say, suddenly I look like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And since I'm seeing Christmas stuff in stores already, I'm seeing Christmas stuff. I figured that was a perfect tie-in. See the Rudolph, Red-Nosed Reindeer. How can I take this lemon, make it lemonade? I'm going to throw in Christmas and encourage you to buy one of my mugs at my website, charliesimons.com. Let's talk about politics and religion. Do not talk. This is a big, nice 15-ounce mug, too. And I like big mugs. I cannot lie. Them other brothers can't deny. Of course, it's red. Sweet. And look at that. And I got a fairly big hand. I can put all my fingers in there. I like a big mug. So get yourself one, would you please? And buy one for somebody for Christmas. See? Get your Christmas shopping done early, Rudolph. Also, you get shirts there, all kinds of different shirts, great messages, some fun, some poignant, some funny. And hats. I love the hats that you're going to find there. So please go there, charliesimons.com. Click on that merch tab, CharLeeSimons.com. Thanks. Oh, while you're there, you can give too, by the way. Venmo, whatever. There's Give, Send, Go is on there. There's several places if you want to help support this ministry. And I pray that you will. Seriously. I could use a little financial help, actually, keeping the show going. It costs me money to do it. Well, there you go. I'll leave that to you, whether you can or not. Buy me a cup of coffee. Buy me a tank of gas. California, that's expensive. Speaking of things expensive in California, our freedoms, our rights, especially freedom of speech, the integral building block of the United States of America as we know it. The very first directive in our United States Constitution, freedom of speech, followed by freedom to keep and bear arms, to guarantee freedom of speech. But when you have the people who are your elected representatives doing everything they can to take it away, and that's happening right now, you know about Prop 771 sitting on Governor Hairdo's desk? You know about it? He already signed AB 495. Yeah, he signed that into law. You haven't heard that yet? That's the one where any piece of can come and say, I'm this child's new guardian. Just print out that form, fill it out. Parents don't have to know, and then they can't even tell the parents where your kid is. This is insane what's happening. I know it's going to be challenged in courts, but that takes a long time. That's going on with a special election. No on 50, by the way, for the special, what's the first Tuesday of November? Is that the 4th? Is going to be a special election. I got my ballot. I don't have the hole in there that shows that I'm voting no. But a lot of folks do, and that's very dirty as well. So I'm looking around because I'm thinking, why didn't I bring that over? I could have been showing it to you, but yeah, I got it. So I'm going to be voting no on 50, but no, I'm not voting by mail. I'm going to take it in person, one of those drop places, polling places. No, I'm not going to do it by mail. What are you, high? That's how they cheat. That's how they keep winning, which is another thing I'm going to be talking to Lewis Herms about. But no, this one that I'm talking about, Prop 50 aside, which, by the way, is seriously next month. So I hope you're registered to vote, because the last day is coming up Monday, October 20th to register. Register as a Republican too, because we're going to need you the following summer, this coming summer. Not this coming summer, this year's not over yet. The next summer, we're going to need you in the Republican primary to decide who is finally going to be going to the big election in November as we vote for a governor. We could actually have a Republican governor again. I think the time is right for it. I think it can actually happen now, despite all the illegals voting. I think it actually happened now. And if we don't do something, we're going to continue getting things like this. Watch.
Of all of this, something else happened around free speech, something nobody seems to be talking about happening in the background while none of us are paying attention. The bluest state in the country, California, just passed the most censorious bill ever to be introduced in this country, SB 771, passing the Assembly on September 10th, 10 days ago. Then on September 16th, passing the Senate completely under our noses, which means right now, all that stands between complete statewide government censorship is Gavin Newsom's signature. Now, am I exaggerating about how bad this bill is? No, I am not. Here is the actual bill. You can pull this up yourself on the state's website. The bill is called SB 771. It's called Personal Rights Liability Social Media Platforms. In Section 2, Title 23 of the bill, it defines the penalties for breaking this new California law. If you post something on social media anywhere online that the state of California deems to be hateful, there's a penalty for that reckless violation, a civil penalty of up to $500,000. For an intentional, knowing, or willful violation, a civil penalty of up to $1 million. That is the definition of the state controlling speech, folks. And what type of speech is California trying to police here? Well, let's read from the bill. It says, this bill protects against online harassment, particularly when directed at historically marginalized groups. Which means what? If you were to, I don't know, point out who the Kavanaugh assassin is, which we all just learned about this morning in this new court filing, if you were to say who that person is, right, would you be fined $500,000? Pretty frightening. All of this happening in the midst of the media and Democrats, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris making hay out of Trump trying to attack the First Amendment. Meanwhile, the state of California is actively passing UK-style laws that will fine you for saying the wrong thing. Pretty wild. And this bill is completely done, folks. It's passed in the House. It's passed in the Senate. All that's left is Gavin Newsom signing it into law.
He has not yet. He has not yet, but he signed AB 495, and everybody said there's no way he's going to sign that, where you can just pick up some kid from daycare from the school or something and say that you're, I filled out this paperwork, I'm the new guardian. Everybody said there's no way that that's going to pass. He wants to run for president in 2028. There's no way he's going to sign that into law, but he did. It's done. And now that 771 is sitting on its desk. Governor Hairdo. And when that gentleman said UK style laws, he's not kidding. That's exactly what this is. This is scary as hell, and I hope you're paying attention. But what do you do about it? You vote. You get involved. registertovote.ca.gov. You're watching in some other state, I don't care what happens in California, you better start caring. As California goes, so goes the rest of the nation. And I can cite you example after example after example. Oh, no, we're protected. Nobody's going to touch us here in Texas. Oh, we're all good in Florida. We're nothing but red here in Idaho. You're fooling yourself. You're not giving any kind of critical thinking to all of this. You better be paying attention to what's going on in California and supporting candidates like my guest, Lewis Herms. Let's get him into the mix right now on Do Not Talk. You ready? Hit it. My brother from another mother. Welcome to the Big Old Battle broadcast.
CharLee, so good to be here.
I'm glad to feel that way, but I'm ready to bolt. I want to get out of this state. I love my state. I've been here all my life, born and raised. I'm starting to think all my friends who have already left probably had the smartest idea, but we got an opportunity next year, but we can't even get our own fellow conservatives, especially Christians, to even vote. Only about 40% of those who claim to be Christian are even registered. Just the Christian vote alone could turn the state around in an election or two, but they're not doing it, buddy. They're not doing it, Lewis.
Easily could. No, easily could.
Yeah.
I believe the Marxist communist legislation that's been being passed a lot lately serves a different purpose than many think. I believe what they're trying to do before the primary elections, they're trying to get as many conservatives and independents to move out of state. That's the goal here. That's why they're passing this stuff, because the elections are going to start being cleaned up. I believe the Trump administration's involved in that. There's some things going on in the background. So what else can they do is they have to scare everybody and get them to run away from California. Therefore, they can actually have a legitimate election where Democrats really win because we all left the state. So I think there's an underlying makeup to this. And I believe what Newsom and his cronies are trying to do is drive everybody outside of California right now.
That would make sense. That would make sense. So much is centering around next year, isn't it? This AB 771. I'm thinking there's no way Newsom, Governor Hairdo, is going to sign that. I hate calling him Newsom. I don't even like to use its name. But
well, let me correct the record before you continue. He vetoed it.
Thank you, Lewis, for letting me know that.
Yep. Now, but if you read into the message of he vetoed it, all right, it's because he got pressure from the tech companies, massive pressure from the tech companies, because they feel like they're going to lose their audiences completely. And they make a lot of money off of conservatives, right? They're going to lose their audiences completely. They don't want to do that. So, big but, because when Newsom's involved, there's always a catch. So what he has done is he's put out a message that says, I think we already have enough laws on the book to prosecute right now. And maybe we should rewrite the legislation to be more pinpointed. What does that say to me? He's going to look for certain words that they claim are anti-Semitic. They're going to look for certain conservative things. And I believe his goal is to retool this so his liberals and the Marxists cannot be caught up in the same net. So it's a temporary celebration, but my guess is, based on the way this POS operates, that they're going to try to retool it to our disadvantage. So
thank you for letting me know that, because I had not gotten that information yet, that it had been vetoed. However, I'm thinking, how come people weren't letting me know that this already? How come we're not talking about this? Oh, yeah. Nobody even knew that it was such a thing.
That's right.
They waived their own 30-day print rule during the COVID shutdown because they had to rush through things for our safety and for our benefit. So they waived their own 30-day print rule. They have not rescinded that. They don't let you know what they're bringing forth to vote on like this. It's going through committees. We're not even there going, wait. We want a voice in this. We want to say in this by design. That's not change.
100% right. 100% right. That's exactly what they're doing by design.
How can you, if God, Lord willing, you do win? Let's say you do win instead of if. Throw that out. You win. You're a governor of California. How do you stop this? How do you attack this one dude? And you don't have all the power, and they're going to train all their guns on you at once.
Yeah,
like they did Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Looking forward to it. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create, we're going to already have it ready, and then we're going to port over onto the government server, exposure.ca.gov. So when people are acting in a swampy, deep site parasitic manner, legislation that will refuse to sign a anti-grooming bill, or legislation that will ignore a clearly written, concise anti-child trafficking bill, or something that has to do with our health or our sovereignty or anything else. It's very concise. By the way, the laws are written very deep and long because they're left up to interpretation. We're not playing that game anymore. They'll be very concise. And when they do that, guess what? Their name goes right up on a website, and then we're going to say exactly, this judge obstructed this. This legislator would not sign this over and over and over. I really believe this exposure.ca.gov will end up being one of the most viewed websites in history, because people want to see what parasites, Republican or Democrat, that are
This will
obstructing
change the landscape completely, because they are cockroaches, and we all know what happened to cockroaches in the middle of the night. When you turn on the light, they scatter.
Exactly right. We're done.
Yeah, this is going to change things dramatically. Wow, that's good. Now that's not going to be run by the government. How are we going to? Because that's going to take a staff to do that.
Well, we'll have to take care of it. If we have to, we'll run it independently. But because I'll be governor, I can put it on exposure.ca.gov. Now, me saying that out loud, they're probably going to grab exposure.ca.gov, but it doesn't matter. We'll just change the name. It doesn't matter. But the idea is to put it on a .gov website so we can show people these are the parasites that are obstructing what we the people want. If it's not for we the people, CharLee, you know I'm not for it. And not to offend your audience here, but I intentionally have now been registered as an NPP candidate, not a Republican candidate.
No party preference.
Nope.
But
And there's a reason behind
listen,
that.
before you go, yeah, see, I don't want to be even known as a Republican, because the California Republican Party is so bad. I don't even want to be affiliated. Please, please, please stop. Wait. I agree with you.
Right.
And I'm a delegate. I didn't even go to the last convention. I'm so sick and tired of the whole dang thing. But we got to show up in numbers too big to ignore for the primary election, Lewis.
Exactly.
We need you registered as a Republican for the primary election, because otherwise you don't get to vote for any of the Republican candidates. But if you're not even running as a Republican, I guess it doesn't matter. You'll be on the ballot, period, in the primary.
Exactly.
How does that work?
No, you're exactly right. So if it's an open primary, a jungle primary in California. So you can be any party and you can still vote for myself, Lewis Herms. So you can still vote for Lewis Herms.
Okay. I did not know that.
And you can
register. About the jungle primary, I think that's one of the things that's completely destroyed the Republican Party in California as we know it.
Exactly. But we're using it to our advantage. This is clinical art of war is what we're playing right here, is because they created this system to obstruct certain candidates, right? But guess what? We go, okay, so we're playing against it, because you have almost the same amount of independents that are registered as Republicans in the state of California right now. So we're going to grab the independent votes. We're going to grab a massive section of the Republican votes, because the reality is I'm more conservative than most of the Republican candidates, right? Mm-hmm. That's just a fact. But what I want to start doing is I think people need to stop thinking right versus left, red versus blue, and we need to start thinking what's best for we the people. That's it, because ultimately that's it. John Adams said the destruction of the United States or America is going to be a two-party system, right? Thomas Jefferson said, if I had to choose two parties and not go to heaven, he says, I would not choose a party if I had to choose one. George Washington said it would be our end, summarizing what he said, if there's a two-party system, because now, unfortunately,
that's not how we were designed. It used to be the best man for the job or woman. Okay, get
right.
over it.
It should, the best whatever. Whoever for the job is the way it should be. So they understood this 250 years ago, right? Now, so in California is a perfect example of that. How many Republicans that we have put in office that do absolutely nothing, because they are Republican in name only. And it's very, very sad. I just talked to two great Republicans, and I might even be supporting them. We're in conversations right now. I won't put their names out, but they seem like they're we the people guys. I'll put my name right behind them, because guess what? I don't care about the party. I care about what's right for we the people.
Mm-hmm. And the Republican Party, as we know it currently in California, is all about we got to be, how do I put it? We can't be standing on our Republican values, our traditional beliefs, and what is wrong and what is right. We got to be more inclusive with everybody.
That's exactly right.
We got to include everybody, which means we have to turn against what we believe in, which is traditional marriage and the sanctity of life. we're not even supposed to be talking about our pro-life stance because, well, it hurts us in the polling. It hurts us with voting. And so be it. Grow a spine.
Right.
Come on, stand up for something. But
You
no,
have
they're
to
not
stand up,
interested.
right? What are your true core values? And just stick with it. If you look at the Republican platform, I'm all in. If you look at what they stand for in general, the challenge is they believe they have to massage their message in order to get the vote. And somebody said, Lewis, why haven't you hired a campaign manager? And I go, I don't need to pay somebody to teach me how to lie. And I said, that's not what I need to do. I'm just going to be extremely authentic, and you deal with it or you don't deal with it. But I believe there's a craving right now in the world for authenticity. Somebody that's just going to tell the truth. And you don't have to like me. I'm not really interested in being liked, but you're going to respect me, hopefully, because I'm just letting you know how it is. If I don't have the answer to something, Charlie, I think you already figured this out. I'll say, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. I won't give some BS answer.
Well, that's the military way too. I don't know, sir, but I will find out.
Yep.
And I like that. I think that we need more of that in government, and instead of the whole dang Democrat Party seems to be attorneys. If they're not attorneys, they're some kind of slimy doctor, Amibera. There's a proliferation of people who are well crafted in saying things to get out of ever really saying anything.
It's so true. It's absolutely true. That there was a top Republican candidate, I'll say that, for California governor, that was asked about a couple questions not too long ago, and the way he weaseled around the answers just absolutely blew my mind. It's very
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My apologies.
it wasn't even him. That's the irony about it.
Well, that's the worst part. It wasn't even him.
Yeah, it wasn't even him. But so there's more than one.
Thanks.
It's crazy though. But we the people are craving for honesty. I really deeply believe that, and I believe we're craving for unity too. If you break down the issues, do you know Democrats and Republicans are in agreement over 80% of the time? But all we talk about is what's divisive between us. So maybe we should talk about what's inclusive between us. I don't know, just a crazy thought.
A crazy thought. Back to actually being a Californian. But that 20%, though, of things that I disagree with them on are major things. Because they have to do with, for me, as a believer, a follower of Christ Jesus, they have to do with them spitting on God's word, God's people, God's spelling out of life and the creation of this United States of America through divine providence and the state of California. God is mentioned a lot in our Constitution.
Absolutely. All over.
They're going against things that I have to take a stand against. I can't be taught when it comes to abusing children or even murdering them. I can't just sit there and go, oh, well, we'll just agree to disagree. No,
you're right. And in fact, my belief is what I believe in is that we should move forward on the 80% we agree on. And like the founding fathers did, have a huge spirited conversations about the 20%, because we need to stand for our values, and sanctity life should be towards the top for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. So, what else? What have you learned this year? Is this your first time ever running for any kind of office?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I cannot stand politics. Politics are disgusting. I want to get the politics out of politics.
It's a good thing you started small and decided to work.
Yeah, it's good. Go big or go home, Charlie. Sorry,
go big or go home.
Exactly. That's always been my deal. I think it's fascinating. Somebody that endorsed me that I just truly love is Pastor Dave Bryan.
Yes,
from Glad Tidings Church.
Extraordinary gentleman.
And his reasoning for endorsing me is hilarious. And you told me I just couldn't say the F word, so I'm probably going to say another word here.
Okay.
He said, because he asked me, he goes, Lewis, what are you going to do about the the political climate or something like that. And I said, well, I'm going to get the bullshit out of politics. And he said at that moment, because he was a pastor, he knew I wasn't trying to curb my words or pretend to be somebody I wasn't. He said at that moment, I started to pay attention to this guy.
He respects that. Yeah, he
Yeah,
respects that.
he thought that was pretty neat, because there is a lot of BS in politics.
Truth above all else.
It
And
really
I'm the same way. Truth above all else, even if I
yes,
don't necessarily want to hear it.
yep, and that's what matters. So yes, I'm the anti-politician, but I wear that as a badge of honor. Somebody might want to slam me, but he's an anti-politician. He knows nothing about politics. Thank you. I don't want to.
Exactly.
Not interested. You know, I take my guidance from God, and I'm not really interested in some political message. It's unimportant to me for sure.
Yeah, good. Glad to hear that. What's been the one thing, having never run for office before, that you're like, holy cow, I didn't expect that?
Well, I've expected this a little bit because, as you know, my platform ScrewBigGov, and I've been attacked, and I don't know how many social media platforms have been eliminated, and I've been poisoned twice because I'm talking about child trafficking and going against Big Pharma. But
Wait. Poison, physically poison?
oh, physically 2 times. Yeah. I was on my last leg. Geez, what was this, about 2 years ago? And a special doctor that's worked on somebody that was very, 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 very well known, probably the most well-known man in the whole world, if you know what I mean. Was evaluating me, did some certain sensors on me and detecting and some scans. And she said, you know, you've been poisoned. And I didn't tell her. And I said, oh yeah, I knew. This is the second time. But she took care of business, and I'm fine today. Our guess is because I did a movie called Cages, which went hard against child traffickers. And I'm very, very outspoken against the medical mafia and tyranny that we deal with today, our lack of choice in regards to that industry.
Me too.
So,
You and me both.
so that's probably, we speculate, is why I was
I
poisoned.
wonder if there's a little mark on the end of my nose is because somebody tried to poison me. They gave me a pimple poison, because that came out of nowhere, and I hate it.
Well, that's the way it
Anyway,
works. That's the
I'm
way it
trying to make
works.
light of a very serious situation. Was it like, were you at a restaurant or something? When do you think it happened? Do you know when it happened?
Well, one of them we know when it happened. The first one was in Sarasota, Florida. In fact, my friend Michael Jaco got poisoned the same day. He got the worst of it, actually. In fact, he told me, he said, and remember, this guy's a Navy SEAL and ex-CIA contractor, and he said, this is the worst condition I've ever been in my life. But he was secondary. A guy shook his hand and then shook my hand, so I think he got probably the worst of it. Another one we think was also in Florida. We're not 100% sure, but we think it was something was spiked in my water that somebody just they were pushing too hard to get me some water. And finally we were dumb enough to say yes. And that's a controlled situation now. We don't put ourselves in that place anymore, but it's serious business, you know, that we're doing. And
we think we're on the good side. We think that everybody realizes child sex trafficking is one of the worst, most pathetic crimes against humanity you can imagine. How could you not be for somebody who's speaking out against that and standing up against it? We just assume, but that's a hard lesson.
Let me interview you. Why is it that virtually none of the candidates in California are making that prime on the platform? Why is it? I'm just curious. To me, this is one of the reasons that drew me into the race, because I was looking at the Republican candidates, which I was looking for somebody to support, and they weren't talking about child trafficking, they weren't talking about election fraud, and they weren't talking about,
they've not been talking about that.
No, and they haven't been talking about medical tyranny. And I'm like, what's going on? And they certainly don't talk about the parasites that run everything. And so I said, God, what should I do? Thinking it's going to be, Lewis, just do another documentary or get out there, do a tour or something like that. And in the middle of the night, it was, you're running for governor. And then I argued with our Lord Almighty. Not a good thing. And he's like, nope, you're running. So here I am today. Right. But it's dumbfounded me and this is not to throw shade on the Republican candidates, but I had to ask, why on earth would you? And the only thing that came to me is they either don't know, which would be shocking, or they're not courageous. And either one of them is not something I can get behind. And a couple of the guys that are running, I really like. They're good guys. So I'm not throwing shade on about 3 or 4 of them. But it dumbfounds me that this is not at the top of their platform.
I'll throw some names out who I like them. And we have a strong bench. If nothing else, this gubernatorial race shows that we have a strong bench.
Agreed.
At least a couple of dozen hardcore, good, strong players for, it could be stepping up in the future, but unfortunately we have to narrow it down to one. And if we don't, we're going to split the vote next summer in the primary election, and we'll have 2 Democrats. It'll be the unthinkable thing, 2 Democrats running for governor of California. That's the way they designed and set up that whole jungle primary thing, which is also, as far as I'm concerned, the first thing I want to see gone if we ever get a Republican back in office.
We will. And I think it's going to backfire on them.
I hope.
I don't think there's an appetite.
But I don't have a lot of faith in my own fellow electorate. I just don't anymore.
But remember though, CharLee, these elections have been stolen for 40 years, right? So have a little more faith in it. We're not as blue as we're told we are. We are extraordinarily red. We really are. I know it. I've been
But we're not showing up.
Streets for a long time, and
we're not showing up. Doesn't matter.
They need to be motivated to go vote in the primary. I talked to Dr. Doug Frank about this, which is a good friend of mine, and I said, Doug, the problem that I see is the zeitgeist is always on the general election, but all elections are won or lost in the primary. All
exactly of them. What I've been saying.
Yes, we're on the same page. I said they're all lost because what happens is we have to think of the deep state apparatus. They already know they've got the Democrat locked up on their narrative. So what do they focus on? They spend all their time and money on getting a rhino into that other position. So what you're doing is when you see a face-off, you're seeing 2 parties that are actually in agreement facing off as if they're not. It's a psyop. It's a complete psyop. So after they get the rhino and they get their Democrat running in the primary and get them through the primary to the general election, this goes through all states. As soon as they get them through the general, the deep state is now partying in the background, and they don't care who gets in because they already know they got it locked in.
I hope you're paying attention to this. If you haven't thought this out before, I hope you're paying attention and you realize everything Lewis is saying right now is completely true.
All of our focus should be on the primary. We should
on the primary, but I can't even get like I said, only 40% of those who claim to be Christian are even registered to vote. And this coming Monday, October 20th, is the last day to register to vote. Register to vote.ca.gov. Register to vote.ca.gov. Registered to vote.ca.gov. Please get registered. We need you now more than ever. But what do you say to Christian? I've heard Christians literally say, well, I don't want to vote against God, so I don't vote.
Well, there's another psyop. So we've been convinced that the separation of church and state meant church can't talk about state. The originality, by the way, that's not in the Constitution. That's not in the Bill of Rights. That's not in the Declaration of Independence, right? That's a myth. The reality is where that statement came from. Listen to this. That statement came because they were trying to keep the government from controlling the churches and the government from introducing their way in there. It had zero to do with speaking politics. Politics were a normal conversation in church before, and that was a psyop to stronghold and prevent people. And then they developed the 501c3, which you're very familiar with.
It was a mid-60s. Lyndon Johnson, one of the worst presidents this nation's ever had.
Agreed.
Turning the tax law against freedom of speech in a religious context.
Because they knew the power of it. They knew the power of it.
They're going to lose their tax exempt status because of 501c3. They made it look all shiny. Oh, everybody do the forget that 508. No. This one's much better.
Yep.
And we all jumped on board.
I know. I know. In fact, one of my biggest conversations I like to have with people is I, I have not read the complete Bible. I'm very honest with that. I've read a lot of it. I search for things that I think are very important because God says, "Hey, check this out." I'm like, boom, open and many times you'll just open a page up and what you need to learn is right there. I think it's so divine. So that's and I have to be authentic with that. I can tell you my favorite verse though, and it happens to be the verse that is the most manipulated verse from the Bible from our 501c3 churches. And that is the meek shall inherit the earth, Matthew 5:5. Because meek is not docile. Meek is not weak. That was never the meaning of meek. If you go back to the origins of the word meek, the Greek translation came from a horse called praus. This was a war horse, which was the leader of all the other war horses and protected the other war horses. That's what meek is. Now, imagine if the 501c3 churches and everybody was teaching that meek means stand up for those who cannot stand up for yourself. Be like Moses and walk through the desert for 40 years. Or be like Jesus, who called himself meek, who was flipping over tables, right? If we understood the real meaning of the word meek, these Christians would all get out and vote. But they've been manipulated to think it means docile, and therefore they are held down. And it frustrates me. You can see my passion behind this.
Well, obviously me too. As a matter of fact, I focus a lot of blame on my own fellow conservatives and especially the Christians for not getting involved, sitting back and going, well, what can I do? I'm just one vote. Oh, it's all rigged anyway, so why even bother? Shut up. That makes you a sucker. You bought into it. You bought it. You believe that. And because of you taking a back seat on all of this and sitting there, not even getting involved, not even trying, you're leaving the rest of us all high and dry who are out there working as hard as we can to try and make a difference, to try and bring some change, not change. How about correction of what the change they've brought and bring us back to something more sound, something fiscally conservative, conserve our resources as well. When I say conservative, I'm the true Teddy Roosevelt kind of conservative. Okay. That's me. So please get involved. Please get registered to vote this coming Monday, October 20th. Seriously, is the last day. Register to vote.ca.gov. But I understand the left has set it up to where, or maybe this is some kind of loophole they don't know about or something. I don't know. But on the day of, if you go into the polling place, you can ask for a provincial ballot. What do you know about that?
Yeah. So, okay. This is a concern of mine, but it could also be an opportunity of ours. And we have to remember, I don't know what verse this is. I'm sure you're going to help me with this, but there's a verse that says their swords will be turned against them.
Into plowshares. Yeah.
There you go. So let's think about that. That's the same way this open primary is going to work in our direction. I believe if we come out and force that, we may have two conservatives running against each other in the general election, which would be lovely. This is why
awesome would that be?
This is why the primary is so important, right?
And the state of California is not like the national election where you have a president and vice president running together, same platform. This is the team, not here. And we got a couple of really strong lieutenant governors running. Evie comes to mind too. I'm not thinking of her last name right now. But we've got some good conservatives there as well. So we got the potential. We need a Secretary of State who's conservative. We need a lieutenant governor. We need a attorney general would be nice. We need to start just absolutely, because one man as governor or woman cannot do it all. I watched what they did to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he had some good ideas. He stole them from Scott Walker, the governor of Wisconsin, but they were still good ideas. They would have worked here. And the unions were spending millions of dollars of your money, by the way, to fight against everything that he tried to do. One man, and all the other elected representatives just sat there and went, well, it's that Arnold Schwarzenegger guy, and he called us girly men, so I'm not going to do it. You stupid little simps. He was right. You are.
You are.
You got to get out. You got to go.
It's so true. It's so true. Well, I think you're the one that gave me the idea that we should create a consolidated ticket of some people that we all support and start advertising that, if I remember correctly.
That'd be nice. That's David Serpa's been saying that.
Yeah, yeah. In fact,
He's been
David,
really pushing
David and
that.
I are probably going to talk in a couple days. I like
Good.
David. I like David a lot.
I
He's
do
he's
too.
he-
I
he's
understand. I don't know if you went, but we just had the Republican convention was about 3 weeks ago now, in California, and I know Steve Hilton was there, Chad Bianco, and Daniel Mercury, all reported that they were treated horribly by the party. They weren't even allowed access and to go into things and so on and so forth by the party at the convention.
Yep.
What's the deal there? I thought they were the Golden Boys. I thought you were all about Bianco, and then you were all about Hilton, California GOP. What's the deal? And of course, Mercury. No, you ignore him because he's a solid Christian. You don't want to associate yourselves with that. So we got these candidates being treated poorly, and that kind of solidifies my. I've got a theory here, Lewis. Tell me what you think of this. I'm not a fan, but everybody in the party seems to be in love with Rick Grinnell. And President Trump has already had him as part of his cabinet his first go around, and has endorsed him before, and he's got plenty of money. And he would cater to that people group along the log cabin lines that they so desperately seem to want to be sucking up to. You'll pardon the reference. I really think that that's going to be the October surprise, because it's not too late. You can still register or do the paperwork to run for governor, right?
Yeah, I've thought that for a long time.
Because why would they treat Bianco and Hilton poorly?
Right. I've thought for a long time that they're going to try to slip Grinnell in there, no pun intended. But
don't go my route. Let me do the dirty entendres.
I've got it. So, but anyways, regardless, and I'm just going to say it. There is a huge movement inside the gay community that's conservative right now, right? And they have conservative value sets, and they may agree on a different way to go.
Trying to change our platform in the Republican Party. I know.
Right. But the reality is, we can still align with conservative fiscal value sets and things like that. But the reason what they're trying to do is, I believe they will try to put a conservative gay candidate, and they're thinking that they're going to garner those extra votes. Again, this is what the Democrats do. The Democrats pander to certain groups in order to get votes. It's going to freak a lot of people out. I actually think maybe the gay community is intelligent enough to look at the candidate and see what they're going to put forward, and they won't just go ahead and vote for you because you're gay. I believe that they may actually have some intelligence there, and I don't need to pander to any group. Right.
Because most people groups know you have to have the right last surname, you have to have the right skin color. You don't check the little boxes they check off. You don't fit any of it. No matter how intelligent, no matter how good you are, no matter how smart you are, you're not going to vote for them. Or they're not going to vote for you.
So a big part of my platform is us respecting people and educating them that it's okay to think. It is okay. It's okay. Don't worry about what anybody's telling you what to say or what to do. Just open your mind and think logically with common sense. We can start doing that, CharLee. You're a very common sense type of guy. I believe people, they just need to get permission. And it sounds really funny. I think they need to have permission to not be a clone or not be a drone and just do exactly what somebody tells them.
Well, while you're telling them not to think, I think it's also important to convince them. And by the way, don't care what others think about your decision either.
Great. I agree.
That's very real too. There's a lot of peer pressure where you gotta get right into that mind hive, or we're gonna kick you out. We're gonna exclude you. You have to get off the island.
You're right. I've seen it with especially with Black conservatives. Yeah. Wow, they go after a Black conservative.
Oh, it's hell. It's hell for them.
It is hell for them. And is and it's ruined their life and their families. They've been threatened. Their windows have been broken. I mean, it's just wow. How dare you step away from from that narrative, that cult like behavior, because they go after you big time.
Yeah. Lewis Herms. 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 Lewis Herms. Where do we find you? How do we help? How do we get on board with you?
Well, go to hermsforcali.com, HERMSFORCALI.com, and CALI stands for California as liberty intended. So go to there and see, I
just
redoing.
got that. That you made it an acronym. That's beautiful. California as liberty intended. CALI. That's beautiful. That's brilliant. Took me a second. I'm just a good old boy from Bakersfield, not all that quick. But I love that. That's good. Good thinking, Abe Lincoln. All right. So I'm sorry. Go hermsforcali.com, you say?
That's right. We'll take volunteers. We'll take support. Clearly, we're up against a machine, so donations would help also.
And you have an opportunity to actually meet him and shake his hand, ask him questions, and hobnob with him coming up November 8th. That's Saturday. This is a big governor showdown. I'm going to be there. I get to broadcast live from the event. I'm very excited about it. Kim Yater, who's really orchestrating this whole dang thing, has put together something like that I've never seen before. This is unprecedented. This is what the media used to do, introducing you to different people running for different offices. Well, the media is not doing that anymore unless you buy advertising. They know they got us 30 or 60 seconds to let people know who you are. So look at that lineup. And there's Lewis. Can you see my cursor on the screen? There you are right there. There you are. You're just under Steve Hilton. Right?
Yeah, soon he'll be under me. So I have big, huge news though.
Yeah.
On the same day, during the morning and afternoon, we are holding a mega rally in the same exact city. Love for everybody to come to our rally and then head over to the debate. And just there, let me tell you who's going to be at the rally. CharLee, you got to be there.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking I'm going to be down there anyway for this thing. So yeah.
Right. So you have to be there. Mark Messina will be there. Mark Abrams, original Mark Z, Michael Jaco, Scott McKay will be there. A good friend of RFK Jr. is going to sing. Deepak will be there. Michelle Peterson, the anti-grooming bill that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've had her on the show. Yeah, she's wonderful.
Kathy O'Brien, Laura Worley, Joe Rosati, Scott Long, Mary Crowley, Jeff Zink will be there. Adam Vina, Vem Miller. These are all going to be at my rally. And then, we're going to get fired up, and then we're going to go in and we're going to take the debate stage by storm. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And you can the day before the 7th, so it's a Friday.
No, same day, same morning.
Saturday.
Same morning, and Saturday morning, it's going to go from 8 to about 12:30. And we'll go right from there. You guys could head into the debate area.
Good.
It will be amazing. It's free.
I meant November, by the way. So it's November 8th. For information, and there's still tickets available, by the way, and they're very, very reasonable. Very, very reasonable.
I even have them on my website, by the way. So if they go to hermsforcali.com, you can go in, you can sign up for free for our November 8th rally, and it gives you an opportunity to buy tickets for the debate right there.
Good. And the event where you're going to be featured with every other candidate running for governor except this guy.
Yep. I don't know why he would bow out, but
What's up with that, Sheriff Chad? What's up? How come you're not showing up? How come you don't want to be there? How come you don't want to let people ask you any kind of questions?
Great question.
It's a great question. Anyway, go to I want to get it right. TakeOurCaliforniaBack.com. That's it. You can't see it on here because it's such a big, busy thing there, but down at the bottom, TakeOurCaliforniaBack.com. And Lewis Herms is going to be one of the people there. And it's going to be, actually, if you do the VIP thing, it's like a formal thing. So they're asking you, it's going to be at a very, just go to the website. I don't want to sell you any more on it. I'll be there, but don't let that stop you. All right, Lewis, it was a pleasure. As always, I always enjoy talking with you, my man.
Can I add one more thing real quick about SB 495 or AB 495?
AB 495, which he did sign into law.
He did, yeah. And I know we've all, including myself, have been looking this is as a way to enhance the child traffickers' way of getting to children. Totally.
Exactly.
I think there's an underlining thing here that may be currently something that we need to pay attention to. I believe by reading it over and over, CharLee, that this is the way that they can force vaccinate our children. And that we need to be very careful. So we're all
I hadn't even
focused.
thought of that.
Think
Of
about
course, any doctor, any medical
that.
practitioner.
Right. So we're all thinking about and they probably want us to think about the fact that our children could be stolen, which of course is at the height of my thinking. But I think the underlying psyop here is this is a way they can easily force vaccinate. Now they can just send a nurse in, sign the kid out, go vaccinate the child, put them back in school. So I think we should be very, very aware that this might be the motivation. And again, I'm on an island thinking these crazy thoughts on my own, but I like to read between the lines on this stuff because they're very sinister.
Fully agree. All right, my man. Thank you so much. Again, always. He's a lot of fun to talk to if you ever get a chance to meet him. He's real deal, Holyfield. Cool dude. And thank you for supporting this show and helping me out at CharLeeSimons.com. Buy some merchandise. You'll be helping me that way too. CharLeeSimons.com, CharLeeSimons.com. It can almost feel overwhelming, can it? But remember, if you have my Lord, Christ Jesus, as your Lord and Savior, his word promises us a peace beyond all understanding. That's how you keep going. A peace beyond all understanding. Give it to him, right? May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America, bless God.